But
Uh,
how's everything with you, Jeff?
yeah,
Keeping
good,
well?
good. Yeah, been pretty busy to be honest. It's yeah, I think been a strange time, but a good time. It's kind of keeping us on our toes, and obviously, like all in. I think we're all right. No one's ill, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, it is.
That is it, isn't it? Like we've been doing a lot of these. We've been talking to people about sort of business and marketing, but like we can't take for granted that is the most important thing right now, isn't it? Is that people are fit, healthy. There's a real crazy, horrible thing that's going on right now, and sort of having these conversations, we're by no means just dismissing all of that. I guess for us, we sort of wanted an element of normality to be able to sort of just get businesses that we work with, or just super close friends like yourself, Jeff, and just have a chit chat about the current situation, about marketing, and just about business in general, really. So I guess it would be a good place to start, because I think Sigma, for you guys, Sigma Sport, like there's a huge craze for fitness right now. Like,
yeah, I think it's kind of perhaps taken us by surprise a little bit. So for people who don't know, we're a website, and also we've got a store location as well. But obviously behind that, we've also got 2 warehouses, workshops, manufacturing or putting together bikes. And really it's kind of, it's actually a huge kind of logistical operation. It's not just a website, which I think is what a lot of people will see on the outside. So big changes in terms of kind of overnight, pretty much seeing on our store closed to the public, and it's not great timing as we'd just finished a pretty big refit there. So it's a real shame for people not to be able to see it. But it's meant that we've just had to adapt, really, and that's the most important thing, is that we've kind of been able to throughout all of this maintain a level of service online, and really kind of make sure that whilst people are, like you said, Luke, this kind of almost craze or real interest in cycling, running, just sport in general, if we're able to help people maintain fit and healthy, then that's the main thing for us. So yeah, been pretty crazy. What is this, week 6 now, I think? But yeah, everyone at Sigma Sports has had to adapt what we're doing, how we're working from home. That's the biggest change for me. But then yeah, it is what it is. You just have to crack on and try and keep things going as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, I think what you said there, like adapt, that seems to be the biggest thing that everyone is talking about, right? Is just how do you adapt to the current situation, and whether that's like the logistics of your business, or your actual marketing you do, or whatever it is, just adapting. And I guess one of those big adaptations is what people are doing to keep themselves sort of fit and healthy. And I know Marcus and Reece particularly, they do a lot of running. I know, Jeff, you do a lot of running and cycling. But one of probably the biggest things I've seen is a huge craze around like Peloton, so like the online cycling workouts, obviously Strava. The other one, what's the one with the screen?
So Zwift is a really popular one for kind of training inside. Connect your bike up to a smart turbo trainer, and then that is really where I suppose the story began. When we kind of look at COVID-19 and Sigma Sports, we saw this huge, again, kind of overnight surge in demand for turbo trainers, where I think I'm right in saying that kind of year-on-year comparisons, it was up like 4-digit growth, so like over 1,000% growth year-on-year for this one category. And yeah, it really kind of showed that there is this passion for cycling still, and people obviously were very concerned and worried that they weren't going to be able to get out on their bikes and be in the real world cycling. But as you said, Luke, with tools like Peloton and particularly with Zwift, it means that people can maintain a level of fitness. But also, I think probably the biggest thing is the community side of things that brings with it. So Zwift, enabled you to ride along thousands of people. Geraint Thomas, team Ineos rider, raised an awful lot of money for NHS charities as well. And in fact, actually a big shout out to a couple of guys who work at Sigma Sports who inside 24 hours rode 705 kilometres each.
Wow.
To support 705,000 NHS workers. And they've raised a great chunk of cash for the charity as well. So yeah, Jake and George, well done. That's
impressive. It's huge. That's massive. And I think the community. Sorry, Jeff.
No, I was going to say I managed to ride with them for about 20 minutes.
Did you? It's so cool though. But you're right. It's that community arm to it as well, isn't it? You've got you've obviously got the fitness and the well-being side of it. That people want to keep themselves healthy, but you definitely can't underestimate the fact is like everyone's doing these community things, whether it's doing a family poker tournament or a pub quiz night or any of these things, like doing a Zwift cycle or jumping on a Peloton class, like is all part of that. I guess people are just trying to feel as normal as possible, right?
Yeah, exactly. And well, things like this, just being able to jump on a Zoom call. I went for a ride with some people and had a Zoom call going at the same time, and I'm on the Turbo Trainer. So it's a new world that we just need to kind of get used to, I suppose.
And from a on the marketing perspective, and do jump in here, Marcus, as well. Like from the people that have been buying a lot of this stuff, like you said, Jeff, the Turbo Trainers, and are they like new people to the sport that have been going, you know what, I'm looking for something to keep myself healthy, or are they people that were already into cycling, or like what's in terms of acquiring new customers, or are they just customers that already existed?
Yeah, sure. Really, interesting question, I think. And it's probably easiest to kind of look at it. It's like we've kind of seen two peaks. I feel a little bit like I'm talking with Boris Johnson now on a on an address to the nation. But no, essentially we've seen that Turbo Trainers was this huge peak at the start. And there, I think it's fair to say it's kind of your real avid cyclists who probably knew the brand already, and it got to the point where actually we sold out of Turbo Trainers and accepting pre-orders for those, and that's kind of one story. But then see this second peak that is actually kind of people who it looks like are new to the sport, potentially, certainly new customers to Sigma Sports. So we've been very pleased to welcome thousands of new people to our community, and look forward to kind of hopefully being able to give them a good experience riding new bikes or wearing new kit, that sort of thing. But really now we need to go into that sort of second phase of being able to market to them while they're on this journey to becoming a kind of a really keen cyclist. So if it is someone who has just got into the sport, how can we adapt our marketing to support them, be it kind of recommendations around keeping safe with helmets or bike lights, to kind of stepping things up a level with like how can we support with understanding what kind of sort of bike computer would be right for them. And it's a really interesting one.
I think that's a huge part of what's going to be happening next, and I love that you made that point, because we did a podcast a while ago. I think it was actually at the end of last year around Black Friday, and how everyone focuses on acquisition, like try and get as many orders as possible, as many new customers as possible. Whereas I think at the time we were talking about how a number of brands just see that as a success. Great, we've hit our numbers, but then they fail to address the loyalty or the retention. Okay, we've got this person, how do we then keep them? And not just for you guys, but I think a number of brands during this time, whether it's because it's an essential item, like someone wants to keep fit, or whether it's because they're the normal retailer they go to for their tracksuits, or their work from home, like loungewear has closed or hasn't got stock and they've joined a new brand. There's going to be a lot of people that are new to businesses. So it's going to be really crucial, probably more than ever, for that loyalty activity to kick in. And I guess we're seeing that across the board, aren't we, Marcus? And Reece from advertising or direct mail, like people I think are more sensitive to how they communicate to people longer term.
I think now people are getting the benefit of having a loyal customer base. Like Jeff's telling there about how he's acquiring new customers, but there's a lot of brands who've had success at this time through their loyalty that they have already. So I think other brands are thinking like, why haven't we got that? Why can't we tap into this loyal customer base? And then probably kicking themselves that they haven't put as much emphasis on that in the past. I think Jeff made a really good point, because like people are purchasing for different reasons, right? They're either just cycling more because they're at home and they want more gear for their bike, or they want to upgrade their bike, or whatever it might be. And there's another customer, which I would probably fit into because I don't cycle, who's gone like, right, I want to get fit at home, I'm going to buy a turbo trainer. Like you've said, Jeff, like those two customers need to be spoken to completely differently. And if you can bring that, a customer for life like me potentially would come on that journey with you as a brand and learn more about bike computers. I don't know what a bike computer is, for example, but if you're sending me an email explaining me what it is and what the different versions are, like that's really going to help me become a loyal customer of yours. Yeah,
precisely. And having, I think, those kind of tailored journeys and being able to talk to people slightly differently. So if we know that we've recently acquired that customer, then there's nothing to stop us with our CRM activity, and be that then communicating in email. We can have that tailored message, which I think is, it's important, particularly at a time like this, to understand why someone's on that journey. So simple thing like if they've just bought a bike, we probably shouldn't be telling them about buying another new bike. So it's just talk about personalization, but that's like a tiny little thing that you can do, take them out of that segment. And then, it sounds simple just saying it like this, but that's why you have your teams or agencies to support you, isn't it?
And the thing is, it's not cheap. It's not cheap to acquire customers like ever, and it's not cheap now, but it's hard at the moment. Like it's hard out here to acquire new customers. So it's like, okay, once you've done that, how can you make that acquisition even more valuable over time and bring that lifetime CPA down? So like all the stuff you just said, Jeff, is exactly how you're going to do that.
Marcus, is it cheaper right now to advertise?
It depends which way you look at it. We've seen CPC, like April CPCs across the data that we have available to us. April CPCs were cheaper year on year, like by about 30%, which doesn't tend to happen that often. We obviously only have a small sample of data compared to all the data that is out there, but in general, I think CPCs are getting cheaper, what other people are reporting as well. Whether it's getting cheaper to acquire customers, I'm not sure. We're seeing some of our brands see cheaper CPAs, like, and higher return on ad spend, depending on what sector they're in. Like conversion rate, CPCs are cheaper. Conversion rates is kind of reliant on what you're doing, but I think it can be really strong if you're talking to people in the right way. Like Frangipani we work with, they're doing not very hard selling type stuff. Very different to Signal Sports, Jeff. They sell like, you'd probably look good in one actually. They sell like really loud, flowery, cool shirts. They're doing a lot of activity, for example, to their customer base, just about the history of Hawaiian shirts, for example, and how they've appeared in film over time. Like not really hard selling stuff, but just cool stuff. And they're seeing that engage people. So long way around the answer, Luke. I think it's really difficult to say it's cheaper to acquire customers now, but I think if you're adapting to the situation and marketing in the right way, I definitely think it can be cheaper now. Yeah.
So it's more, I know we have this conversation a lot, and there's the debate of, do you just completely stop trying to acquire new customers? And I guess, I mean, Jeff, you can talk from your experience, but it feels like that people can and should still be going to acquire new customers, but the key, I think, is to do it in a sensitive way.
Yeah. I think probably a good example actually is just recently we've seen this huge kind of growth in the online side of the business, which I think I said took us somewhat by surprise. And actually we've been in points over the last week or so where we've been in close touch with our fulfillment center and kind of hearing what's happening in terms of how many can we actually get out of the door each day. And luckily, because we're a tight-knit group of people and we can have those conversations easily, you start to understand that actually, it's becoming really hard work in the warehouse. How can we support in marketing? Well, actually, we're tone things down for a 24-hour period to alleviate that kind of pain point within the business. And the worst thing possible would be that if a customer is paying for a next day delivery service, for example, and we're failing to achieve that, and if we get one negative view on Trustpilot, that touches everyone in the business. It's not just a customer service issue. It's the whole business that needs to understand why that is. So really, we've been fortunate throughout this whole process that actually next day delivery service has remained pretty much solid, very good. We've been operating with probably on our free delivery service about a 4 to 5 day delivery period, which again I think is pretty good. And with bikes too, that's looking at about 7 days. So I think generally our customers can be very happy with that, particularly when you look at other competitors in the market who are not keeping up with the demand, and be that because they've been too aggressive in their marketing, or perhaps they've not kind of been upfront with customers about what their delivery times will be. And looking through their Trustpilot reviews at the moment, it makes, well, for us, quite good reading, but as a other kind of business, it's not good for them. So, I think there's other ways to look at it. It's not all about just getting as many orders through the door right now, because for us to have that long-term customer value, we need to make sure that not just for returning customers, but also for those brand new customers, they're getting the best possible experience. So that's one thing.
That's such a great point. And what you said there, just towards the end, Jeff, around just sort of being completely transparent with people, and maybe some businesses not being transparent. And to go back to the example that Marcus used earlier, we've got a client who unfortunately has a load of stock that is stuck somewhere else in the world and can't arrive. And so the website looks quite bare, if we're honest. There's not a huge amount of product, and you could sort of hide behind it and have these new potential customers come to your site and think, well, this is a bit rubbish. There's no product. Whereas actually they've just been completely upfront and gone, look, we were planning on launching a load of new collections in April and May, but unfortunately they're stuck in so-and-so warehouse. But that's it. That's the situation. And people were hugely receptive about it. Like the amount of emails they got, like replying to that campaign, just saying, look, completely understand, all the best to you guys. Can't wait to see the new product. So to your point around managing the reputation of a business in this time, you have to weigh up like, oh, okay, I'm going to be sending this message, or I'm going to be trying to achieve this, versus maintaining that positivity about your brand. And it's great that you guys are really aware of that, and it's awesome to hear the collaboration between warehouse and marketing of saying, you know what, we'll ease the pressure of the warehouse by pulling back marketing, and that's great. And having that communication is so key across the different teams.
Yeah, I think, well, that's it. I mean, I would say at least every other day we're having kind of team meetings with kind of the heads of department to make sure that we're all on the same page and understanding anything. Is there something that's kind of running low on stock, then purchasing will be kind of feeding back in, well, actually dial things back there or increase it. We've just had a delivery of XYZ in. So I think that's probably the key point there, is just to kind of maintain communication, not just with your customers, but internally with your teams. Because you need to, otherwise you start falling apart.
No, 100%.
Yes.
We spoke a lot about habits. Obviously, but people's buying habits, I think, they were always evolving and changing towards now. Obviously, being very heavily online. I think some behaviours have been sort of accelerated. But in terms of behaviours around sort of fitness, and Reece, it'd be good to get your thoughts on this. So, like, people have started cycling, whether it's indoors or outdoors. People have been running, doing their 5Ks. People have been I've started skipping more and doing a lot more. Like, everyone's trying to form these habits. Do you think when this is all over, do you think those habits will stick, i.e. someone's picked up a new hobby for a lifetime? Or do you think it will very quickly just go back to, oh, bosh, I'm just going to keep going down the gym?
I don't know, Luke. That's a tough question. Like, for me personally, I think like some of the things that I've learned about myself over the last, because I've been in isolation 8 weeks. I was ill 2 weeks before, so Luke made me self-isolate. So I've been actually in my house for 8 weeks. So I've learned a hell of a lot, but I do think that, I hope that people do. I think, like, especially in like cycling, like, people, Jeff knows that I've been texting him. I'm in the market for a bike, and that I believe that, yeah, if you tap into something that you actually generally enjoy, that of course I hope that people carry it on. What do you guys think?
I think more people could cycle to work as well. Don't know how that would look like, with the roads in London are quite congested with cyclists anyway, but people might feel more comfortable avoiding the tube in the future, cycling to work, so that could keep habits up. There was a definite uplift in people running as well, isn't there? Like, obviously, people being told they can leave the house once a day to run has been a real push up people's arse to, like, okay, I'm going to go out and do a run, which I think is a good thing. If it helps people get in the habit, then again, it's a silver lining.
But that's to your point. I think I've never seen so many people run past my house, and I think that's a good thing. And I hope that people that were unfit and have done it can really, like, push on from it. And I hope this is like a kick up the arse for some people to go, you know what, like, we're not all like superhumans. Like, there is diseases out there that can affect everyone. Doesn't have to be like 80 years old. So, like, I hope that we all do take stock, and it definitely helps me, like, mentally, like, not just physically, but mentally stay sane by working out, especially at the end of the day. But yeah, I hope so, Luke. I hope people do keep it up.
So Alex, when we spoke to Alex at Cured, he was saying, like, health has never been at the forefront more than it is now. Like you said, Reece, we're not invincible, and, like, he put it perfectly, like, health is not often on your mind until it becomes an issue, and then suddenly it's the only thing on your mind.
Yeah.
So this has been a reminder for people probably that, we're not invincible and we can get sick. And looking after yourself, eating well and exercising is a good thing to be doing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I think like education, I think is a massive thing that's been brought to the forefront of everyone's minds, or mainly parents' minds. Health being fitness, what you eat, your mental well-being, like, all of these things have suddenly been really pushed or forced into the forefront of everyone. And I just hope that does carry on, because so many people we've spoke to, and I'm sure the four of us would agree, that one of the silver linings to all of this, or one of the positives, is that everything seems to have slowed down a bit. So just going out for a walk in an evening, or going out for a run, or jumping on the turbo trainer, or taking 15 minutes to cook your porridge in the morning because you've got so much more time on your hand. Like, these sorts of things, I think, do give us a bit more of a positive sort of mental health, which I think is huge. And I hope that the habits are there, that people will carry on. But we obviously have our own responsibilities to keep those habits going. But to go back to your point earlier, Jeff, around what responsibilities brands have, it comes back to the marketing, doesn't it? Is for you guys' examples, for everyone that's bought a turbo trainer, you'd hope that at some point, when we're all allowed outside again and the weather's lovely, those same people are going to want to get on a bike. So brands have the opportunity of saying, we know this is how you acted, or what you purchased, or your behaviours during lockdown. Let's keep that going. So I think some of the responsibility will be on the brands to help people keep habits.
Yeah, I agree. I think cycling in particular is one that needs to tread a kind of the right ground, because I think going out and doing safe exercise at a safe distance is obviously what everyone should do. It keeps you healthy, not just physically, but also mentally. But additionally, I think it's important that cyclists don't kind of go too crazy with it. And you see on tools like Strava that help you track how far you've been, kind of people going off and doing hundreds and hundreds of kilometers a week during a lockdown probably isn't the most sensible thing. And I think it's treading the right sort of happy medium, I suppose. Like if you're going out, and particularly from my point of view, I think it's fine to be out on your own riding, but think about if there was an accident and you came off your bike, what additional burden that would have on the NHS, for example. And no one wants to talk about coming off your bike, but you should take precautions to make sure you're wearing a helmet, that sort of thing, particularly at the moment, but also just always, because it's sensible. But when you are outside, just be cautious and be mindful of that side of things, not just keeping you 2 meters from other people. Definitely don't be stopping by the side of the road to drink a coffee. And that kind of thing is not going to help the reputation of cyclists to the general population. That would be my,
I do have a bad rep.
my personal view.
Jeff, I'm not sure if you actually know this about me, but I actually failed my cycling proficiency in year 6, and I never actually passed it. So
I've wondered why you've always been so scared of me in Lycra.
yeah, that must be it.
I think one of my best man at my wedding, Dean Larvin, his mum used to run the cycling proficiency. She did it when it was my year at school, so it might have been your year, Marcus, as well. So I'll have a word with Sue.
Yeah, see if she can slip me a certificate. Now backdated.
But no, I think that's such a great point, Jeff. As with everything, whether it's physically exercise or marketing, like everything has to be done responsibly. We need to get the messages right, and I think the content that you guys have been putting out has been excellent. And we've talked about a lot of different businesses about the content they're creating, and I think the common theme across throughout is that it's just open, honest, human, transparent content, and that's what I think consumers need right now. Is just they don't need kind of the bullshit. They just need the honest approach from brands. And yeah, from the outside in to Sigma Sport, the content that you're putting out at the moment is very human.
I think, and kind of a shout out on that from the content side. We often pump out a lot of content on YouTube, and we've got kind of a steady stream of kind of new bike related activity, or going out for what we call cafe ride series, which is meeting up with sometimes ex-pros or current pros and just getting their opinions and views on all sorts of things. By nature, that sort of thing required a lot of travel, which obviously isn't on the cards at the moment. But so 3 weeks ago, launched a new podcast series with Matt Stevens, who is an ex-pro from Britain. And yeah, it's really nice to be able to support our community with content like podcasts that, it might be kind of not that polished YouTube video that people come to expect, but it's something that helps us all get through it. And if we can support the wider cycling world, all for it. So yeah, I think there's light at the end of the tunnel throughout all of this. So we just need to kind of keep safe and keep going.
Agreed.
100%. Couldn't agree more. But it's been really good to just geek out, have a good catch up, Jeff. At some point soon, hopefully we can all eventually get into the pub and have a nice cold pint. But and that's a Friday afternoon, so we'll let you get on with a couple of hours more work, and then I'm sure we'll all be having hopefully a crisp beer from the fridge maybe. But it's been really good to catch up, Jeff. Keep safe. Good luck with everything, and we'll catch up soon.
Likewise. Cheers, boys. Take care.
Cheers, Jeff. Have a good one.
Cheers, buddy. Take care, mate.